It's snowing in the Pacific Northwest. I went to Flight Simulator on the computer. You know what's amazing with Flight Simulator? You can change the weather. I changed it from snow to a bright, sunny day and had a great flight this morning. Anyway, it's safer than me being in a real airplane these days. Enough with Flight Simulator. I told you this was part 2 that will include some rather serious things that weren't really too funny. But it had to start out, because I don't know why. I always find humor in things. Well, this humor involved the TV broadcast. And they had promoted this thing all day, that we had a picture of the UFO from Roseburg the night before. We used a rear screen projector back in these days, which is a slide projector that faces into a screen, and it blows it up, and the picture shows on the screen. This particular night, the camera that was facing the screen was capped, meaning the lens was not in front of the Vidicon tube, meaning that all the camera would shoot was nothing, just black. Well, I started the newscast in my normal Walter Cronkite type approach. Ladies, gentlemen, this is not the most dramatic picture that we have to show you, but it was taken with my own camera of the object that was seen over Ruston Ridge last night. This is exactly what we saw. It's a light, but the light is much different than the lights around it. At this point, they slid from the camera that I was on to the one facing the rear screen projector. However, since the camera is capped, there's nothing but a black screen there. One of the illustrious crew members sees that the camera is capped, and he leaps towards the camera and rotates the lens around, and on the TV screens, to the horror of the people watching, you see a white light come like this real quick. And then, since he hit the camera very hard, it's kind of moving. So on the screen, they see this light. It goes zoom, 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 zoom. It was very dramatic. I just went on. I didn't know what else to do about it. But rumors persisted that this mysterious video of UFO in Roseburg had been disposed of, only shown once, because the accident only happened one time. So, a lot of explaining. The next day I'm prepared to explain it all. And here's where it gets very serious. I received a phone call. This is 15 minutes before we go on the air. And the man says, Mr. Dimmitt. I said, yes. I saw your interview that you did on NBC last night on the network. I said, yes. This is because the missing video was described as being missing. And he says, here is something that, first of all, you have to determine this Dr. Hymek I'm talking to, I think it was Hymek, is involved with Project Blue Book. He's involved with the Majestic 12 Committee. He's very big. And here was the opening of the conversation, the words he said. He said, as you know. Now bear in mind, he thinks, because he saw me on the network, that I am a network reporter. And he says, as you know, these things, you can look right at them in the daylight, and you cannot see them. So obviously what one has seen here is a UFO had crashed, and they were looking for it. That's why you saw UFOs everywhere, because they had to get rid of this UFO and the debris. I said, oh yes, I thought, yes, that's right, Doctor. He said, obviously, they found it. They picked up the parts. they had to have lights because they're in regular airspace where there are regular airplanes. And they could have collided with it even though they couldn't see it. So what you saw were navigation lights. What they saw on the ridge was parts being picked up and survivors or whatever. That's all. Nothing more. No reason to make a big deal about this. It's that nothing to see here. But we saw it. That always struck me as strange. And as he ended the call, he said, if they're green, stay away from them. So I had to think about this. The phone rings again. It's a member of the city of Roseburg, county of Roseburg, who says, "Dimma, did you talk to that Heineck guy?" And I'm now 5 minutes from the newscast. I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "Did he say to you, if they're green, stay away from them?" I said, "Yes, he did." He said, "If they don't exist, why in the hell are we staying away from green ones?" Something to think about. Again, this is one of those videos. Maybe I made it all up because of my dementia. Or maybe it really happened, if you'll excuse me.